single thing at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
That's a lot of wizard food, and I think I forgot my wizard lactate.
No.
Yeah, I left it on the counter.
This is gonna go bad.
I know.
We are here in Diagon Alley at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter because we're eating everything today, and there is so much magic food to be had. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is an amazing section of Universal Orlando Resort. There are lands in both theme parks at Universal Studios. There's Diagon Alley, and at Islands of Adventure there's Hogsmeade. These lands are easily the most popular lands in Universal, and of course are themed to the Harry Potter books and movies. Now, to access both halves of Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you do need a 2-park ticket, just because you do actually have to go into both parks to get to both lands. That also means you have to have a 2-park ticket if you want to ride the Hogwarts Express. We are starting our day at Leaky Cauldron, where they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Of course, we are here for breakfast. Breakfast is a little different from lunch and dinner because they don't offer mobile orders, so you do just head in and hop in line. I will say, there's like no one in line. It's walking straight up. For breakfast, you'll be directed right up to a cashier and order straight with them. We're gonna get just a few things here today to try out all those wizarding breakfast samples. After you order, a wizard will guide you to your table. You just let them know how many you have, and they take you to your table, take your tray, get you all set up, and then your food magically arrives. So I'm waiting for my food and also waiting for Emma. One thing that I did really enjoy is that when I placed my order, the witch at the counter, Mary, when I told her I would need to use credit card to pay, she said, "All right, use the Muggle machine." When I had to tap my card, which was funny. Now I'm waiting on my food. Here is our breakfast spread here at Leaky Cauldron. So we got like a small sampling of what they have to offer here, but we are covering everything on the menu here. So we have right here, this is the kids' traditional breakfast. It is the same as the adult traditional breakfast. It comes with breakfast potatoes, a tomato, eggs, beans, sausage, and ham. Right here we have the apple oatmeal flan breakfast, which has this apple oatmeal flan, which I'm very curious about. And it comes with a little bit of yogurt as well as a bunch of fresh fruit. This is what I'm most excited to try, which is the egg leek and mushroom pasty. It looks so good. It's warm and crusty looking. Comes with the breakfast potatoes, crusty positive. Crusty is an interesting word. Comes with the breakfast potatoes as well as a bunch of fruit. And then we also got the kids' pancake breakfast. There's an adult version of this as well, but it's pancakes, a croissant, and some bacon and sausage, and it does have syrup. All of the breakfast options do come with a drink, and I panicked and got all pumpkin juice. So when Emma does get here, she'll be excited because she loves pumpkin juice. Other options on the menu include the American breakfast, which is really made up of components that we have here across the pancake breakfast and like the traditional breakfast. It's just other components. So if you want a more familiar breakfast, they do have it. They also have the American traditional and pancake are all kids breakfast, but they're also adult breakfasts. So it's not a ton of options, but it's actually a pretty various menu, and I'm excited to try some of this stuff out. I'm starting with the mushroom leek and egg pastry because this is definitely the one that I would get. I don't love it as much as I'd hoped. The pastry is actually really delicious. It's super crusty and it's like not super moist, but it's okay because it's filled with all that filling. The filling is where I have questions. It's a lot of egg, and the mushroom and leek don't really do a lot to like mask that. The egg flavor tastes the most like the whites of a hard-boiled egg, so I don't know if it's hard-boiled eggs in here or if it's just something that's like happening with the eggs they have. Overall, it's a little disappointing because I do love like a warm breakfast, like savory quiche-like pastry like this. But it's not really hitting for me because it is just so eggy. It's like more eggy than a quiche, which I feel like is supposed to be more egg than this. That said, I do think it's a really fun, like more unique breakfast option here in Diagon Alley. You cannot get this over in Hogsmeade, and they don't always have it. So make sure, like, if this is something you want, you like ask at the door before you wait in a long line or something like that. But it's fine, it's nice and savory, but it's very, 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 very eggy. I'm trying the breakfast potatoes, which are on a couple of these plates. They look so good. They are so good. Honestly, I would maybe just get a side of these. They've got like a lot of oil on them. I think it's olive oil and rosemary. They're like perfectly cooked potatoes, like just enough resistance to be a really satisfying bite, but then like super soft and chewable. There's onions in the potatoes as well for just like some added flavor. I just think these are awesome breakfast potatoes. Maybe some of the best breakfast potatoes like I've had from a theme park restaurant. And it's impressive because it's quick service. Trying out the fruit. Surprisingly good fruit. You know when you get a fruit cup and all of it kind of just tastes like each other or it tastes like water? That's not what's happening here. It's obviously not like the best fruit I've ever had in my life. Like all the melon is nice and sweet and soft. The grapes are huge and super like bursting with flavor. Which is higher quality fruit than I expect. I love fruit with my breakfast. Fruit's like my preferred breakfast option. So in Harry Potter World, you can get pumpkin juice on draft, or you can get it in the bottles. It's better if you get it on draft, which like pretty much places that serve butterbeer will have it on draft usually. So in Diagon Alley here, there's like Leaky Cauldron. The Fountain of Fair Fortune has it on draft, and so does the Hopping Pot. On the sweet side, I definitely think it tastes more like a cider than a juice. It's very like fall flavors. Reminds me a bit of like apple cider if it had a bit of a pumpkin-y vibe. If you like pumpkin spice coffee, apple cider, then I think you're gonna really like this. And obviously it's worth a try because this is one of the more iconic things that they have here in Harry Potter World. Still no sign of Emma. Behind the scenes, Emma is over in Hogsmeade eating breakfast over there.
The part I've kind of been dreading.
Trying the flan now. Ooh, way better than I was expecting. High highs and low lows here at the Leaky Cauldron. Now I'll tell you one thing, this is not for everybody. It's crispy on the outside and kind of like a sugary, sticks to your teeth way, but not really sweet. And the inside has almost the texture of a bread pudding, but a little more oatmeal-y. It's warm, it's soft. I will say, the oatmeal makes the flan a little like mushy tasting, which I think can be really off-putting texturally for someone. But if you like bread pudding, and you like cinnamon-y, apple-y things, I think that's pretty tasty. It also comes with yogurt and fruit, and the yogurt is like, I'm pretty sure this is just strawberry yogurt. I'd get this again. I feel like the oatmeal is a nice little like heartier piece to like what would be a continental breakfast. But I forgot to mention they also have, if you just want like fruit and a croissant, they have a continental breakfast. I am going for sausage at this time. I'm on the traditional breakfast. I do love the Wizarding World sausage. Super meaty and savory, and the casing does have an actual like little snap to it, which a lot of times like theme park sausage doesn't, because it's just like formed into links and not actual links. This is a true sausage link, which is awesome. I'm gonna try some ham. Well, no, I'm gonna try egg. Okay, see, these eggs are much better than the eggs in the pasty. They don't taste like the hard-boiled part. They taste like yummy, buttery eggs. We've got the potatoes here. I'm going for croissant now. It's a really dry croissant, but it's a solid size, and with some jam or butter, it'll be fine. Ham cheers. A little tougher, but not chewy. So it's like a thicker piece of ham. Definitely erring on the saltier side. It's not like a sugared ham. A nice meaty addition to the plate. I think kind of goes well with everything. Let's see how it goes with the beans. Very English to have beans for breakfast. Tastes like kind of bland baked beans. I like baked beans. I don't usually eat them for breakfast because I'm not English, but I find it endearing that beans are a breakfast thing in England. I find that very fun. I actually think that when you're watching this video, I'm in England on vacation with my family, and maybe I'm eating beans on toast, but more authentic than this. Maybe that's what's happening right now while you're watching this. The tomato's a tomato. Really the best part of this is that there's more breakfast potatoes, which are what I'm here for today. I just looked it up. You can get a serving of those breakfast potatoes for under $5. And that will be my breakfast every time I come to Universal forever. They're so good. Something about Universal, they just do potatoes right. I found Emma. Woo! Whoa! I'm impressed. This is good. Why did you do that? Alright, I'm trying out the pancakes. They actually look pretty fluffy and delicious. Really good pancakes. Were your pancakes this good? You okay over there, bud?
I just had to burp a little, no concern.
They're airy, they're fluffy. The batter is like, has that nice touch of sweetness but without being too sweet. And they soak up the syrup really nicely. I'm actually impressed with this. For like quick service pancakes, in general, breakfast was better than I expected here. Breakfast complete.
Let's keep going, champ.
I don't know that that was a wise move at the start of today.
You asked me, I thought that sounds fun, and it wasn't.
You're gonna find a lot of traditional English fare on the menu here, as well as some wizarding favorites like butterbeer and more. We're gonna be getting a pretty intense amount of food here. One thing to note is that Leaky Cauldron is mobile order almost exclusively. If you really can't use mobile order, you can speak to a team member here. They do have some options at the counter where you can mobile order as well. But mobile order at Universal works a little bit different than it does somewhere like Disney World. You place your mobile order to be let into the waiting area, and then you do not say that you're here until you have a table. you will have to wait in line for a table. We're in line for a table right now, and that can take a while, sometimes as much as 20 minutes, sometimes even more if it's really busy. But once we get to the end of the line, we will be sent to a table and then get to hit that we're here and wait on our food, which can also take a while. So just heads up that if you're hungry, that mobile order is not going to necessarily move very quickly. It's just a way to move more people through at a time, and it still might mean a longer wait for your food. There are tons of Harry Potter details in this restaurant, and the atmosphere in general just feels very magical. So despite the fact that you might have a longer wait, I do recommend eating either here or at the Three Broomsticks if you're doing a Universal day or a Wizarding World day and you do love Harry Potter. My favorite part of this restaurant is that if you look up into the halls of the inn, they've used forced perspective to make it look like it is a very, very big, very cool building, and I think it looks awesome, very magical. Once you make it to the front of the line, which for us was about a 20-minute wait, you do get to hit your table, at which point you will find this barcode on the table along with your table number. And in the Universal app, you input where you are sitting, and then they bring the food out to you. So we're gonna keep up with how long our wait is. Now keep in mind, we've ordered pretty much the entire menu, so it might be a while for us here.
It's 2:15 on the dot.
Yep, we're very excited because we did get a 4-top, and we were nervous because we did order so much food that we were gonna be at a 2-top. But lots of really nice seating in here. It's kind of like banquet hall style where you might share with another party. There's some booths along the wall. You could probably ask a team member if you want some specific seating, but it would not be guaranteed. This is a very high capacity, popular restaurant. So they're just trying to get everybody in and out as fast as they can and fed and everything with an enjoyable experience. The atmosphere in here is definitely, I don't know, a little sparse, but I think that's intentional, and it definitely still feels like the Wizarding World in here. There's plenty of seating, and then up high, there's all these wizard drawings on the wall. I absolutely love the ceiling. It looks exactly like the ceiling does in the movie when he's in the Leaky Cauldron, and I love all the staircases and like wizarding mail that's over there for the people staying here. And of course, it wouldn't be the Leaky Cauldron without the Leaky Cauldron itself, which does sit up here in this massive fireplace. It's hard to tell on camera, but that's a door right next to it, so it's huge.
We are starting with 3 drinks. So the first one over here is actually the Otter's Fizzy Orange Juice. It's a fresh orange beverage with notes of vanilla and cinnamon. Here in the middle we have the Tongue Tying Lemon Squash. It's sweet and tart lemon flavored beverage served with a squashed lemon, and it's literally just a whole lemon inside. And then over here we have the pumpkin juice. There's not really necessarily a description, it is literally pumpkin juice.
Alright, I'm trying out the Tongue Tying Lemon Squash, which has an entire lemon in it. Literally there's like a whole lemon in here, both halves of the lemon. I'm trying to get it out to show you, but it's difficult because it's slippery. So just trust me. Here. Lemon. You see it? So this is like a lemonade, but a little bit different. I was expecting it to be just a plain lemonade the first time I ever tried it. It's not. There's another flavor to it that just adds like a little bit more depth. In my opinion, it tastes like vanilla. It tastes like if lemonade had a little bit of vanilla without being overly sweet. It's no sweeter than like a Minute Maid lemonade. It's not overly tart. Tons of lemonade flavor with just that whisper of like the sort of vanilla aroma in your nose. I find this to be really refreshing and delicious, especially on a summer day. You can only get it here in Diagon Alley. You can't get it over in Hogsmeade. So it's one that I do recommend because it's, you know, you want to get butterbeer, but butterbeer is not the only specialty drink in Wizarding World. There are tons, and I actually like every single specialty drink in the Wizarding World. So I recommend trying out maybe 1 or 2 instead of just sticking to butterbeer. There's even 3 kinds of butterbeer, so it's, you know, try them out. My favorite one though is right here, Otter's Fizzy Orange Juice. It's not like an orange soda, so not like a Fanta. It tastes more to me like a cream soda with orange flavor to it. It's got a little bit of like a citrusy tartness that you don't get from like an orange flavored soda. And then on the rim, it's cinnamon sugar. That when you take a sip out of it, a little bit of it melts with the juice. This is my favorite Wizarding World drink outside of butterbeer because I think it's a lot more balanced than butterbeer. Butterbeer is super like overly sweet. This is not. It's a lot more balanced. I think it's super refreshing. It's very orangey in a way that is kind of like, you know what? I used to have orangeade, which is where you put sugar and ice in orange juice. At least that's what my grandma would say when I was a little kid, and I loved it because it was just sugary orange juice. And this reminds me of that, but with a little bit of carbonation. So I do recommend this. If you're an orange juice drinker, you know.
Peach tea. It's actually, okay, I'm controversial Southern opinion. I don't love tea that much. This though is fairly nice. It's a little bit more carbonated than I would have anticipated. Fizzy tea, I guess you should say. The peach is really nice. It's sweet, but in a fruity way, not in a sugary way. Then it's just kind of a normal tea flavor underneath the peach and the fizz. It's not half bad. If you don't like just traditional tea, unsweetened tea, you probably will not like this. But yeah, I would not get it. I don't like tea. Okay, they just brought our food. I don't think it's enough, personally.
They asked if we had more people coming, and the answer is no, but I do have Tupperware. Right here we've got the bangers and mash, which is roasted English sausage, creamy mashed potatoes, roasted tomatoes, sauteed onions and cabbage, minted peas, and onion gravy.
Next up we have Toad in the Hole. It's $13.99. It's a popular dish of English sausage baked into Yorkshire pudding and served with onion gravy, minted peas, root vegetables, and roasted tomatoes.
Back here we've got the beef, lamb, and Guinness stew, which is served with a warm and crusty bread bowl.
Next up we have the mini pie combination. It's mini cottage pies and a mini fisherman's pie served with a garden salad.
Next up we have the ploughman's platter. They do have this at base. It serves 2. You can get it for serves 4 or serves 1, which is what we went with because we don't have enough food. The ploughman's comes with a feast of English cheese, crusty bread, field green salad, roasted tomatoes, Cornichon pickles, apple beet salad, Branston pickle, and Scotch egg.
Next up we have the soup and salad. It's split pea and ham soup served with a garden salad.
Next we have the Irish stew, which is a vegan beef tip and potato stew served with vegan crusty bread and a side garden salad.
Up here we have the shepherd's pasty pie. It's meatless beef crumbles and vegetable stew hand pie served with a creamy stone ground mustard dipping sauce, apple beet salad, and wedge fries.
There are a few sandwiches on the menu as well, including the banger sandwich here, which is a roasted English sausage, mustard aioli, roasted tomatoes, sauteed cabbage and onions on a crusted baguette.
We also grabbed the specialty chicken. It's a grilled chicken breast, apple butter mayo, Colby Jack, cheese, smoky, apple bacon, roasted tomatoes on a house-made special menu.
Here we've got the kids macaroni and cheese, which is served with grapes and applesauce. We are missing a kids meal, so make sure to check that you got everything, although you probably aren't ordering this much, so you'll probably know if you didn't get everything. We're just gonna be able to request, and then they'll be able to bring us something. But then we get to go into the dessert, where we have the sticky toffee pudding here, the butterbeer potted cream, a chocolate potted cream, and the Kranishan, which is right here and is a kind of like a parfait type dessert. I'm starting with the sticky toffee pudding because it is melting, and I know it's dessert, but there are no rules when you're on vacation. This is actually one of my favorite theme park desserts. I love like a bread pudding, and this one is so sweet and tasty. And they use the same syrup with this that they use with the butterbeer potted cream. So it's like butterscotchy and toffee-y, and there's vanilla ice cream. When it comes out, the pudding is super warm and the ice cream is cold and melty. It's not the best bread pudding in the world. The pudding itself is super dense. Like, obviously they're creating these en masse, which can mean you're not getting like the best flavor. I've actually had a better one of these before, so they are a little inconsistent. Whereas this one's a little on the chewy side. But the top is super crispy, crunchy. I love the amount of toffee and the flavors of the toffee and butterscotch. It's pretty sweet, and I would say definitely shareable as a dessert. But overall, just something I really enjoy, and I do recommend if you're going to eat at the League of Culture.
So I'm going to try the plant-based vegan option, and that is the Irish stew. So there is what is looks to be kind of like a, it's not focusing, there it goes, meat, faux meat, and lots of vegetables. So cheers. So with the stew, you can definitely tell, especially with the meat, that this is the plant-based option here. The meat is not bad. It's very chewy. It doesn't have that normal texture of like true real meat. It's not bad though. I actually love the stew itself. I bet if this was like really warm, it would be super comforting. It is chocked full of vegetables, and it's not like a really thick broth, but it's also not too thin, so it's kind of that nice comforting stew level broth. Really, really like this, especially because it's plant-based. It does come with a side salad as well, and a big ol' hunk of bread. Really nice, very comforting, and I think it's a nice plant-based option. It's not gonna be the best one that you've ever had, but in Harry Potter, where a lot of this is like bangers and mash and really heavy meat items, I think it's a nice option.
Next up, I am trying the soup and salad, which is a ham and pea soup, which I don't often get soup in theme parks because it is really hot. This tastes like a canned ham and pea soup. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I like canned soup just fine. It's just obviously not the most exciting thing here. The first thing I thought when I tried it was I would love to eat this if I was sick. But if I was sick, I would not be at the Leaky Cauldron at Universal Studios. So it's got the texture of real peas, so it's got that like, grainy isn't the right word, but that like mushy sort of texture. There's chunks of ham in it, but they're relatively small and there's not a ton of them. Wish there were more chunks of ham. Super savory flavor, very comforting and homey, but definitely not the most exciting thing here. And I'll go ahead and try it out the side salad, which is with many, many, many of our dishes, so I'm gonna try it out now and you can keep that in mind for all the rest of them. They've got ranch, light ranch, Italian blue cheese, and no dressing. I'm an Italian girl, but you can pick any of those. The greens are pretty crispy, so I'm not getting like that overly wilty, these have been sitting out vibe from the actual greens of the salad. The dressing is just Kin's, so you know what Kin's tastes like, you know what it tastes like. Not the freshest greens either. It's kind of what you would expect from a side salad at a theme park restaurant. Obviously not the most exciting. One thing I do like about the soup and salad is it does come with saltines to sprinkle on your soup or dip in your soup. And all the salads do come with these honkin' chunks of tomato, which can be incredibly inconsistent. I've had the worst tomatoes I've ever had here before, but these, we were talking about how they look really beautiful today, and they are, which it's tomato season, but super ripe, nice burst of acidity with your soup and salad. So the side salad is good. It's what you expect of a side salad, which is what you want from a side salad, so cool by me.
Okay, next up I am gonna try this shepherd's pasty pie. I'm very excited about this. This is actually one I've never had. So there you go. It's massive. Okay, first off, messy. So when I first tried this, I did not realize that this is another vegan option. So it kind of makes sense why my initial thoughts were kind of like not what I initially expected from it. First things first, the actual pie itself is so flaky and crispy, and I'm actually really surprised at the quality of it in a theme park, but really, really nice. Just lots of heavy layers, very buttery too. Now the filling is fairly interesting. It is chock full of vegetables, which I love. I will say though, with the meatless crumbles, you can definitely tell it's one of those, you know, faux meat items. I don't really like, it's almost like a sweet, kind of leans on the sweet side, but it doesn't feel like it intentionally does that. So just not my favorite. The filling is fine. I think I would absolutely die over this if it was not vegan. It's just not my favorite, but I'm also not a vegan, so I wouldn't necessarily say don't try it, but out of the two vegan items, I think the stew was a lot more tasty.
I'm gonna try out the Plowman's platter now. This is actually my favorite thing to get here. It's my mom's favorite thing to get here. She loves to get the Plowman's platter for two. And my parents split it. There is the side salad on here. It's the same side salad we already have. So I'm going to try some of these English cheeses. 3 cheeses here. A milder cheese with some herbs in it. What I think is like a cheddar, just an orange cheddar. And then blue cheese. The two that aren't blue cheese taste just like cheese cube cheese, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not the most exciting cheese in the world. But pretty quality cheese, nice melty texture in your mouth. The blue cheese is delicious, but I love blue cheese, and if you don't like blue cheese, you can ask for it not on here, which I have done before. Not of my own decision. This bread looks like the bread from Aladdin, which is a high compliment. Because when he tears that bread in Aladdin, I'm always like, ooh. I wish bread looked like that in real life. And I'm gonna try this with the Branston pickle, which is not what you think it is, because I thought it was a pickle when it is in fact like a weird spread. Not weird, just English. For those of us that aren't familiar with Branston pickle, it basically tastes like a chunky barbecue sauce. It's pretty good, and it's actually, I like to have it with some of the other stuff on the plate, with the veggies and stuff. It's not even that unfamiliar of a flavor, because it just tastes like, maybe like A1, or like Worcestershire sauce is definitely included in it. So it's kind of like a savory, like jam, chunky vegetable situation. Also kind of the star of the platter is the Scotch egg, which is a sausage wrapped hard-boiled egg. I love these. They're very controversial, and the ones here are not the best Scotch eggs in the world. The hard-boiled egg is perfectly cooked. It's got a really nice zesty mustard on it, which sort of ties it all together. But my favorite part is the sausage. It's a breaded sausage exterior that adds a really nice meatiness to it. There's no spice. It's kind of like breakfast in a bite. But it is primarily hard-boiled egg, and I know a lot of people texturally don't love hard-boiled egg. I really like this. I think it's fun to try. It's very English, but this is not an incredibly like authentic, like it's not the best Scotch egg in the world, so keep that in mind when you're trying it. But not a lot of places you can get a Scotch egg when you're in Florida. So I almost forgot the beets. Tastes like beets, super earthy, very refreshing honestly on a hot summer day like this. I love the cool beet salad. But obviously this platter is not going to be for everyone. It's not necessarily the most filling. It's kind of like a grazy sort of like, almost like a charcuterie board sort of platter. So it's just not going to be enough food, I think, for everyone. It is enough food for me if you're a lighter eater. I think it's a great option, but not the most food, not the most like iconic food that's here either.
Next up, I'm gonna try the specialty chicken sandwich. This one for sure, not vegan. Because look at all the bacon on it. And it's real bacon. This is actually delicious. I really, really enjoyed this. It has an apple butter mayo on it, which I think is kind of the selling point for me. It's just kind of normal Kobe Jack, bacon, grilled chicken, but the apple butter mayo is like a weird combo of like sweet and savory, and the bread is actually really good too. They call it a specialty bread. It's just like a bun, but this is really nice. I also think this is gonna be the best option if you don't want like traditional English fare, but you want something that's not the kids' mac and cheese or just fish and chips. This is really nice, very tasty, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I did not expect to like this.
I am gonna try the bangers and mash. Now obviously this is gonna be very iconically English. The sausage has a really nice texture. It's ground super finely, and it does have a casing on the outside that gives it a good amount of snap. But that casing is like, you can see it when you cut it, you can see the casing. So if that's off-putting for you with sausage, keep that in mind. It's got a really nice meatiness to it that kind of hits in the nose. It's very aromatic, kind of like kielbasa sausage. That's honestly the closest that I would liken it to, but bangers are not kielbasa. It's pretty mild. There's no spice to it or anything. It goes awesome with the onion. The mashed potatoes are mashed really finely, but they're nothing special. They're like the same mashed potatoes you can make at home, just like salt, pepper, and butter kind of thing. And same thing for the gravy, where it's just a nice beef gravy. What's fun about this is it's super filling. It's definitely shareable, unless you have a huge appetite. And it's very classically English. It's the kind of thing that realistically would be eaten in a place like the Leaky Cauldron in London. So I'm pro that. And also it comes with a really nice portion of peas and just veggies, which is nice because sometimes on a theme park day you just need a vegetable.
Okay, next up, toad in the hole. I'm a little bit apprehensive about this one. It is sausage baked into pudding, but I'm excited to try it. Cheers, love. Okay, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by this. The sausage is good. It's just normal plain sausage. It kind of has that casing that Quincy talked about earlier. The pudding itself, when you hear pudding, it's not like vanilla or chocolate pudding. It's not anything like that. It's a lot more firm. You see that? Will it focus? Yeah. So it's like a lot more, there's a lot more texture there. It's a little bit chewy, but it's also only flavored kind of like by herbs, so it balances really well with the sausage. I think the gravy ties it all together and adds a lot of flavor. I really like this. It's very different. I don't know that I would want it on like a really heavy theme park day per se, but I enjoy it. Do I think it would please the American masses? Probably not. But if you're looking for something that's really different, I think this could be a fun option.
Next up, I'm going mini pie combination. So you can get both of these pies as full-size pies, but we didn't do that because you can get the mini too, and that means we're still technically eating everything. One is a fisherman's pie and one is a cottage pie. I actually always thought I would like the cottage pie better, but I actually really like the fisherman pie better. I guess I'm giving you spoilers right now. But first up, trying out the cottage pie, which is beefy, peas, potatoes. So good. It's primarily the ground beef and gravy flavor with the nice textural pop of the peas, smoothness of the potatoes. I just think this is delicious. I think the mini pie combo is great because it's not an overwhelming amount of either. Also shareable, so you could each like split half a pie. In fact, most theme park like meals, especially here at Leaky Cauldron, you could probably share these. They're huge. The banger sandwich, I keep looking at it, it's massive. I could never eat that, no matter how hungry I was. But yeah, the cottage pie is really classic and delicious. I love, like, shepherd's pie is one of my favorite things to like make and then have just a ton of at the house. So it's very comforting to me. Right, and the fisherman's pie, mostly mashed potatoes, but there's fish in there and peas. So same as cottage pie, fish focused. If you like seafood, you have to try this. It's like the best alternative to fish and chips if you don't want something fried. You still get that beautiful flaky white fish flavor that totally fills your mouth, but mashed potatoes and peas as well, making for like an all-around just delicious bite. I think this is a seafood lover's dream, and I'm not even like, I wouldn't say like I always choose seafood, but I do love a good piece of white fish, and I think that you need to try the fisherman's pie if you do.
Next up, I'm gonna try the banger sandwich, but I'm intimidated by it, so I'm gonna get a different type of bite. Here is like a perfect bite, a little bit of everything. Cheers. Immediately no. This is the first thing, maybe other than the shepherd's hand pie or the shepherd's pasty pie, that I just did not enjoy. The main thing for me is the mustard aioli. It's just not my favorite. It's really potent. It's also been sitting here for a long time, so it's soaked into the bread, that's an us problem. That's not for you to worry about. I also do not like the roasted cabbage on top. And then with the tomatoes, I just think it's like a bit of a different combination, just not my favorite. I don't think the flavors work as well together, and it's not comforting in the way that some of the other things are comforting, but that's just my opinion. I think the acidities don't necessarily tie well together. That's just me.
Okay, I'm trying out the kids mac and cheese, which you can only get on the kids menu, but Emma says it's very good. Reminds me of Velveeta.
Yeah.
Which is like, Velveeta's a great mac and cheese, but super creamy sauce that doesn't necessarily feel like it's made from real cheese, on like perfectly cooked big macaroni noodles that really catch a lot of that cheese sauce. Super like gloopy in a good way. I think your kid will love this. If they're more of a picky eater, obviously a lot of the stuff here might not be that familiar to American like palates. Maybe it might taste familiar, but it doesn't look familiar. It might be hard to get a picky eater to eat it. The kids mac and cheese is a great option. Also, you can get a side of fries here. It's not on the menu, but we do love the fries here. They're potato wedges like this, and they're super crispy, super delicious, and we get them a lot just because like they're a really nice filling little serving of potato.
Before we get into my dessert, Quincy started with dessert, I'm gonna end with dessert. I am gonna have the beef, lamb, and Guinness stew. It's also in a bread bowl, which is very exciting. So this is kind of back in that nice, comforting, heavy food territory. The beef isn't super, super soft. It's a little bit tough. We've had it for a while though. It could just be because it's cooled down. There's lots of vegetables. The carrots are super soft. It's very savory. The gravy is just thick enough without being like overwhelming or bogging down the rest of the meal. I will say the bread bowl is massive. So like this is 65% bread, 70% bread, 30% stew. If you want a lot of stew, maybe it's just this one bowl, but mostly this is bread. But it's tasty bread, so do with that what you will. For my first dessert, we're gonna do Kanashi. I'm trying this first because I think I will like it least. This just feels like a bad for you parfait in a really positive way. The little crumbly granola on top is really nice and flavorful and overly sweet, honestly. And the rest of it just is like comforting strawberry jam, which I love strawberry jam. I could literally eat it with a spoon, so I think that's why I like this so much. But thanks to the layers of granola, it doesn't feel like overly heavy. If you want something light that won't make you feel gross, I think this is really nice. Good option. Next, I'm gonna try the butterbeer potted cream. I'm very excited because I've been eyeing this literally since we started. This just looks to die for. And it looks that way because it is. If you are somebody who loves just something overly sweet like butterbeer, this is incredible. It has that strong toffee butterscotch flavoring. However, I will say it's basically like you're just eating, it's a pot of cream, but like texturally, it's like really smooth icing. Eating all of this on top of an entire meal, I think probably would make me a little sick, but just to like get the sweet taste and share it with your friends, I think this is really great. Maybe be careful though. It feels like literally just a pot of icing. Quincy just tried it. Quincy does not like icing. She does not like this.
And I was expecting pudding.
No, it's
sad.
like literally like whipped icing.
I'm angry.
And she's angry about it. Okay, finally, last thing on the table, chocolate potted cream. It looks very much the same, but chocolate. This one looks more puddingy. So this is the pudding that Quincy was looking for. This is like a chocolate pudding. It's not overly fancy. There's nothing super special about it. It just is chocolate pudding, but it's nice. I prefer the butterscotch, sugar heaven, make your teeth fall out, sugar potted cream. But chocolate's pretty good too.
I wouldn't pay for this one because you can make chocolate pudding out of a box at home.
It's not special. Yeah, it really is just chocolate pudding. Not bad, but not special.
What are you doing?
At ease, soldier. You finished your first battle. It was at the leaky cauldron.
The camera zoomed in. We have made it out of the leaky cauldron.
We did it. We completed the whole challenge, right? That was everything, right?
That's really sweet and funny. There's a lot more to go.
A lot?
A lot.
I ate so much.
You did eat so much. There's more. We were not kidding when we said there's a lot of food here in the Wizarding World. Leaky Cauldron, of course, has the most food in Diagon Alley, but there's actually a lot of other food, including some of my favorite food you can get at Universal Orlando. 2 of the stops we're going to are places that I will literally come to Universal Orlando just to go to these places and then drive back home, which is insane, but I've literally done it on multiple occasions. Emma's looking very stressed out at her telephone.
No cameras.
She's very stressed out. And I think we can make her feel better by getting a favorite of both of ours, Florian Fortescue's ice cream. Hope you're hungry.
I'm starving.
There are a ton of shops in Diagon Alley. Some are just facades, but a lot of them you can head into. I highly recommend doing some exploring. But right here on the corner of this yellow building, you'll find Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. Now, Florian Fortescue's is featured in the book as the main ice cream parlor where Harry goes, and he gets his favorite flavor, strawberry and peanut butter ice cream. It's actually, I don't think it's in the movies at all, is it? No, just the book. So I absolutely love this reference, and the ice cream here is amazing. It's some of my favorite ice cream in the world, and I truly like it better than any ice cream in Disney World, and I actually can't think of any ice cream I've ever had that I like it better except for maybe like homemade.
Wow.
I know that's big words. I really like the soft serve here. I'm not even a soft serve girl and I love the soft serve here, but that is our next stop because we are eating everything and this is something. Florian Fortescue's has soft serve and hard pack, and though you won't be getting that many scoops because that takes too much magic. It's just too expensive. They can't do it all the time. You can get soft serve that looks a lot like this, and it's very delicious. And also, Emma and I are here all the time.
Yeah,
when you're here, you can say hi to us.
Like.
There's Emma and there's me, and you can just say hi to us. Florian Fortescue's has a couple of different sundaes, a lot of soft serve flavors, a lot of hard pack flavors, and the way the soft serve is it's regular vanilla soft serve, but then it has a flavor like kind of swirl on the actual ridges of the soft serve. It's delicious. Now, to eat everything, we just have to eat both types of ice cream, not every flavor, thank goodness, because we would need about 1,000 more people here to do that. So we're gonna get one of the soft serve flavors, the most iconic, the butterbeer ice cream, and we're gonna get their specialty chocolate strawberry peanut butter sundae, which does have their hard packed strawberry peanut butter ice cream, as well as hot fudge, whipped cream, and shortbread crumbles. But lots of other soft serve flavors and hard packed flavors if something else tickles your fancy, and there's other toppings as well. We did have to power through the ice creams off camera because, what are you doing? We didn't have to power through them off camera because they were melting at a speed which I found incredibly stressful.
I drank mine.
Yeah. But what do you think? Went pretty good?
I like the ice cream a lot. I think the peanut butter and strawberry is really different. I don't think you see a lot of flavors like that, so I think that's why I like it so much.
No.
It's sweet, but it's definitely heavy on the peanut butter flavor, so if you're somebody who would like a little bit of peanut butter and a lot of strawberry, probably don't get this. The heaviest flavor is the peanut butter.
The butterbeer ice cream is super, super sweet because you've got vanilla ice cream, which is already sweet, and then the butterbeer swirl, which is like super sticky sweet syrup kind of on the edges. Flavor's amazing, butterscotchy and delicious. But if you are a fan of, like, if you want to look something a little more balanced, my favorite ice cream here is the toffee apple soft serve. because the apple is like sour green apple, which I don't usually love, but because it's on the creamy vanilla, it is so delicious. I just think their soft serve in general, as well as their hard pack, is super creamy without being overly rich. It's not quite as rich as something like Salt and Straw if you've had it, and it's like more creamy than something like Edie's ice cream. So we just love it. It's a win for us. We are going to take a food break though, and have some wizarding fun that gives our stomachs a break.
And that'll wake us up a little.
And you're coming with.
I don't know about a break for our stomachs.
It's really not a break. It's probably an intense situation to put our stomachs in.
So we have to do it.
Let's do it. We've made our way just around the corner to the flagship attraction here in Diagon Alley, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. This is a super fun, extremely popular attraction here at Universal Studios where you race in a mine car through, not mine, it's not a mine. Well, it is a mine cart, it's like the type of vehicle. You race in a mine cart through Gringotts Bank, and a bunch of things go a little wrong as you try to open your account because, well, there's intruders and Harry Potter's there, and also He Who Must Not Be Named is there. It's a pretty wild ride, and not exactly the most canon Harry Potter ride, but are any of them? You sleepy?
No, none of them are canon.
And you're not sleepy?
No.
We'll wake you up. So we are going to take a quick ride on this. It is a 30-minute wait, but there's a single rider line that tends to be much shorter. Now, when you do ride this ride, as with many Universal rides, you have to put everything that cannot go around your waist in a locker. So like a fanny pack is okay, but otherwise you got to use those lockers. They are complimentary and use your park ticket to open and close them. So super easy, but we are going to drop off our stuff and then head on a little Gringotts ride to shake up all the food in our stomach and hopefully wake Emma up. All right, we're off. We're now in the gift shop that you exit through, which is a really cool gift shop. Definitely look up and see the theming in any of the gift shops. But we're just looking at the snow globe of Harry, Ron, and Hermione riding on the back of a dragon because it's very funny. All right, after our ride on Gringotts, we've made it over to the Hopping Pot. As if we didn't shake up our stomachs enough, this is the main alcoholic beverage location here in the Wizarding World. They do have other options as well, but mostly alcoholic beverages, especially beers and things like that. So we're gonna grab some stuff here, try out some of the exclusive Wizarding World drinks you can get here, alcoholic and non. Would you say that Gringotts woke you up?
Would I say that?
Yes.
We had a lot of food today.
What about this?
Good morning.
All right, we've acquired our pasty and drink haul. This is 2 of the exclusive beers that you can get in the Wizarding World. These are the ones that you can get over here. There is another one you can get over in Hogsmeade that we will of course get, but we have here the Dragon Scale, which is more like a darker, as you can see, more flavorful, heftier beer. And then we got a pumpkin juice, which is not beer. This is of course very famous from the Harry Potter movies. I always think of when Madame Pomfrey, when he drinks the medicine, and she's like, well, what did you expect? Pumpkin juice? That's what I always think about. But we have pumpkin juice, and then this is the Wizard's Brew, which is another of the exclusive beers to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Then we have our pasties. These are the beef pasties. You can get 3 mini ones or 1 big one that looks like this. There's a long wait for the big ones, so we went with the mini ones. And they're just beef hand pies. And there is a chicken one as well. And Emma is the hand pie captain of the team. So she will be trying those. Okay. All right, hopping pot time. This is a spot that Emma and I love to visit because I really love the Wizarding exclusive beer, and she really loves hand pies. So we're gonna try them out. We did get 2 beers, a pumpkin juice, and 2 types of hand pies. So cheers. Cheers. This is the Wizard's Brew.
I've had these a lot. Very tasty, very flaky pastry. It's like, I don't know, I'd say 60% pastry, 40% filling. It's nice, it's really well seasoned, and it's simple.
That's pretty good. Then this is the Wizard's Brew. This is a mild beer. It's kind of like a lighter, like red ale or amber ale. Not a ton of flavor, honestly, pretty easy to drink, which is why it is my preferred beer on this side of the Wizarding World, just because it's usually really, really hot, and a heavier beer can be a whole lot when you're walking around a theme park. So I really love this one. It's definitely on the mild side, but I do think you have to like beer. It's not a light beer. It's not gonna have like not a ton of taste to it. but not a lot of hops or anything either. Kind of a people pleaser in my opinion. So this is my preferred beer, not for all people like Emma. She doesn't like beer.
I like pumpkin juice.
And then I also am trying the Dragon Skill, but don't worry, we did call in backup, and Emma's husband is here, and he's gonna drink the beer I like less. Thank you, Emma's husband.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you also.
Thanks.
This is of course a much darker beer. It's the Dragon Scale. This has flavors of like a stout. It's most similar to like a Guinness. Not quite as heavy, but definitely more similar. This is the kind of thing that like I like to drink in the cool air condition of a restaurant or my home, and not when I'm standing in 100 degrees in Orlando, which is why I will be handing it off camera at this time. Woohoo! But both of the beers actually are very good. One thing I love about Universal is that there's a lot of exclusive beers, not just in the Wizarding World. My favorite is actually the IPA, the Isla Nublar IPA, or Isla Nublar IPA in Jurassic Park, which is an amazing IPA that isn't overly hoppy and is delicious, and not a part of this video, and I'm still talking about it. How's that?
I'm gonna try it out. This is the chicken ham pie.
Look how happy I am.
Honestly, I think this is similar to the beef ones. I'd say it's probably the same seasoning. It's a little bit more bread where it's bigger, more pastry I should say. Still really flaky, very nice. I truly, unless you told me, I know visually that it looks different. I think the beef and the chicken taste pretty darn close together, and mainly because it's drowned in all of the pastry, but I like it. It's simple, it's heavy, and I think it's a good like walking around snack.
Check this out. Wingardium Leviosa. How are you doing this? I'm a wizard. We are headed out of Diagon Alley actually and into London. Now London is actually a part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, even though it looks a little different. Bye. Hi. But it is part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, even though it's obviously a real world place. But London is in Harry Potter. This is where you'll find King's Cross Station, where you can take the Hogwarts Express. You'll find the night bus, one of the ones that was actually used in the film. And you can speak to the Shrunken Head navigator and the night bus attendant. This is also where you'll find Grimmauld Place. You can see it's the one with the slightly different colored bricks. And look up in the window for a little bit of a surprise. But we are out here for the one food location in London, and that is this little stand, the potato stand. The potato stand is located right out here, right by the bridge over to Simpsons Land, and it has a menu including hot dogs as well as several different loaded potatoes. Now we are definitely going to be trying all 4 of those potatoes, which maybe we did call in backup for in the form of Emma's husband, because it's a lot of potatoes. We got a lot of food to eat today. We're not gonna get the hot dog just because hot dogs are kind of basic. You can get them anywhere. We are gonna get a lot of potatoes. All right, the potato stand did run out of potatoes, so we did only get 2 of the 4. We're gonna have to come back for the other 2, but that's okay. We've got here the shepherd's pie potato, which is of course loaded with like meat and peas and carrots, and it's delicious, and cheese. I said that in a weird order. And then we've also got the broccoli and cheese potato, which is loaded with broccoli and cheese, just like it sounds.
Delicious.
Potato cheers.
I love the shepherd's pie one. Obviously, all of the potatoes are fairly heavy because it's an entire potato. My life flashed before your eyes. I meant to switch that around. She almost dropped the hot potato on our lap. But
I didn't. I caught it with the other potato.
It's meaty, it's cheesy, it's really heavy. I think it's really comforting. I don't necessarily recommend eating it like midday like we're doing. But especially when it's colder out, these are the best potatoes of all.
I've literally come here on a summer day, eaten one of these potatoes sitting in the sun, and then gotten Florian Fortescue's by myself and then gone home.
True.
They're just good potatoes. The vibes are great. Sometimes you just want to eat a hot potato, and you can in Harry Potter World. The broccoli and cheese one, I find this one tempting a lot of the times. I actually don't recommend it because unless you're a vegetarian, which even then I would recommend the beans and cheese over the broccoli and cheese, because the broccoli is typically a little overcooked. And it's whole chunks of broccoli with shredded cheese instead of like a nice melty broccoli cheese mixture. That said, it's still delicious, and I actually still do get it, but that's only because I get these potatoes all the time.
Yeah.
If I would get one, I'd get the shepherd's pie potato. And we'll be back here for more potatoes later when they get more potatoes. She was like, come back around 1 p.m. Hey, listen. Come back around 1 p.m. You want potatoes?
We'll have plenty.
1 p.m.
And
Not
it
a
wasn't,
minute
she
late.
didn't even ask, like, why
No.
not 4? She was like, hey, shh. 1 p.m.
1 p.m. you can have the other two. All right, I'm heading to Sugar Plum's Sweet Shop. Now this is the candy store location in Diagon Alley. The more famous one from the books is Honeydukes, which is over in Hogsmeade. But I just wanted to show you a look around Sugar Plums because it does have many of the same things. Lots of prepackaged snacks, which of course don't count for our Eat Everythings, but great options to take home. The bakery case, though small, has a number of really cute wizarding sweets. Many that you'll remember from the films, like a pumpkin pasty. Lots of fudge as well. You can get fudge all over Universal though, and they even have the pumpkin cakes. Our next stop is going to be the Fountain of Fair Fortune. Now this is another drinks location. It's actually a great spot for butterbeer, especially because it doesn't tend to have a long line. So if you want to try butterbeer, this might be the spot to head in. It is really cute on the inside as well. Look, there's literally nobody in here right now except for one group. And they have a number of the specialty drinks that you can try in the Wizarding World, so we're gonna grab some. All right, we've got our order from the Fountain of Fair Fortune. We're hiding in a corner, like we do. This is the fishy green ale. It's green, has fish eggs in it. Those aren't fish eggs. I actually don't remember what they are.
Boba.
I think they're like the blueberry popping pearl ones.
Yeah.
But we'll find out when we drink it. We've got a butterbeer. This is a frozen butterbeer. Now you can also get butterbeer as a hot butterbeer or as a cold butterbeer. They have it at a number of locations in both Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. It's obviously the most iconic drink. It's kind of like a butterscotchy soda with this frothy foam on top. They even have a plant-based option as well. So highly recommend butterbeer. I think it's probably the thing to get when you're in Harry Potter world, and you can get it almost anywhere. Emma's favorite is the frozen, my favorite is the cold, but we both like the hot too. Then this is our one alcoholic drink from Fountain of Fair Fortune. This is the Strongbow and Fire Whiskey cocktail. It is a cocktail made of Strongbow and Fire Whiskey. Fire Whiskey tastes a whole lot like Fireball.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Well, it's wizarding, so it's different. But it's like a cinnamon whiskey inside Strongbow. I've actually never had this cocktail, so we'll see how it is. You typically drink cider, so it might make me very sick, and then you'll have to drink it.
It's cold, it's butterscotch, it's sweet. I prefer the frozen just because I think it's honestly more sweet. I also like the cold foam and how it kind of like sinks down into it as things melt. That's just my preference. If you get it hot, drink it fast because this gets like weird texture.
It gets weird. Drink it fast if you get it hot, for sure. I love it hot when it's cold outside, but you do have to drink it fast. Cold is my preference because my favorite part is the foam on top, and I think sipping the cold gets you most of the foam. Nobody agrees with me. Everybody likes frozen the best, but if you like cold the best, tell me in the comments so I know I'm not alone. Okay, I'm trying out the Strongbow cocktail. Wowza. It definitely tastes like an alcoholic cider, just kind of at base. It's got a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of dryness. It's actually kind of a perfect balance. In fact, Strongbow is typically too sweet for me, but the Fire Whiskey in here balances out the Strongbow and makes it a little bit more like of an even cocktail. Still relatively fruity, and it's like cinnamon apples in alcoholic form. And that Strongbow is carbonated, so it's definitely got a little bit of like zap to it. It's definitely refreshing and delicious, and it's very fall. It tastes like fall in a cup. So that's great for Florida, where it's still really, really hot and you still want a cold cocktail in the fall. This could do it for you. Also, it's wizarding technically because they do drink Fire Whiskey in the books. You guys would not believe the number of accidental photos we take when we're trying to start filming.
Yeah, but they're nice.
I'm trying the fishy green ale. I recall not enjoying this. The green itself kind of has like a spearminty cinnamony vibe. Like kind of like, and this is a bad comparison, but when you get cinnamon toothpaste at the dentist.
Yep.
It's kind of like that. It's not as strong and it's not as toothpastey, so it's not like drinking toothpaste, but it is the vibe. I'm gonna try some with the boba at the bottom. Now with the boba, I'm a fan. When you get both, because the boba, I'm pretty sure it's like a blueberry boba. It's super sweet, and it kind of cuts through that cinnamoniness, and it makes for a really unique drink. Like the sip is just, this doesn't taste like anything else that you can get in a beverage ever. I don't think I would recommend this. It's probably my least favorite wizarding beverage besides like Fire Whiskey, but it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely Instagrammable because like what's going on there, you know?
Fishy.
Green ale. All right, we're headed back out to the potato stand, but just on the way there, I do want to point out you don't actually have to go to Florian Fortescue's for ice cream. They do have some like hard pack ice cream. You can get at this little cart, which is open sometimes. And you can get that hard pack ice cream when you go over to Hogsmeade as well, because they don't have Florian Fortescue's. It is not quite as good as the delicious Florian Fortescue's, but if you don't want to wait in line, or if you are just going over to Universal Islands of Adventure, then it's a great option to still get some of that delicious Wizarding ice cream. They do have the butterbeer flavor as well as the strawberry peanut butter, and then just some more basics, but I would go for one of the fun ones. Potato cart! We're coming!
More
potatoes! Womp, 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 womp. All right, so here we have our second round of potatoes.
Woohoo!
The potato stand people did judge us.
Potato round 2!
And Emma doesn't care. So we've got the beans and cheese potato, which you can't see the beans, but they're under the cheese. We promise. Look, there they are, beans. They're the same beans we had with breakfast, actually.
Nice.
And then we've got a loaded potato, which is a little bit more of a classic. Cheese, bacon, sour cream, chives, and all the potatoes do come with butter as well, and you can get salt and pepper. So definitely too hot to be eating them, but we do it anyway.
Well, I like this one. It's plain and simple. It's not going to beat the shepherd's pie for me, but I like the beans. It's weirdly like almost creamy together. I like the texture. It's really soft, and then the cheese just adds some nice savoriness there. It's good.
This one's awesome. It's pretty much like a basic loaded baked potato. I will say there's so much bacon on here.
Yeah.
Like the ratio of bacon, it's like the amount of bacon that there was on the shepherd's pie and the shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
It's so much. The ratio is a little off in my opinion. So I might ask for like a little less bacon next time if I was gonna do the loaded. But that said, like loaded potatoes are common and delicious for a reason. Yeah. Do I think it's the best thing to get at a theme park where there's tons of specialty food? No.
Probably not.
Get the shepherd's pie potato if you're gonna get a potato, but it's still delicious.
That was nerve-wracking. I thought you were going to drop it.
I didn't.
Pros. It's because she's a pro.
All right, and that is a wrap on the Universal Studios side of the Wizarding World food. We've eaten everything over here. But don't worry, that's only half of the Wizarding World.
Let's go to the other side.
Yep, so we're gonna take the Hogwarts Express. To find the Hogwarts Express, you can head into King's Cross Station on this side. And wait time is only 10 minutes.
Oh, thank goodness.
That's so nice. So we're gonna head in here to find platform 9 3/4, which I don't know, I guess is between platforms 9 and 10. Kind of a weird platform number. And we've made it to Hogsmeade. Now this is the original Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Orlando. We're at Islands of Adventure now. And this one of course is themed to Hogsmeade, which is the Wizarding Village located right near Hogwarts. It is very cool. There's not as much to see and do on this side as the first one. There's just a little bit less going on, but the very favorite Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is over here. It's a very, very fun ride. And it actually has a relatively short wait for it at 70 minutes.
70, nice.
Which is really saying something, that that's a short wait. There are not as many dining locations over here, but we are gonna have some pretty interesting food while we're here. We are starting here at the Three Broomsticks, which is the main dining location here in Hogsmeade. Breakfast is going to be a couple of different options. Now breakfast is not on mobile order, so you do have to come to the restaurant, and it's served until 10:30, but you hungry?
Starving actually.
Oh,
it smells incredible.
Eat.
Okay, so here it is. This is the full breakfast spread for the Three Broomsticks. So while we are here, of course, we had to grab the traditional English breakfast. It's fresh scrambled eggs, sausage links, black pudding, English bacon, baked beans, grilled tomatoes, sauteed mushrooms, and breakfast potatoes. And then over here in the back, we got the child's porridge, because it still counts, even though it's a smaller size. And it's old-fashioned steamed oats with fresh fruit and a butter croissant. And yes, this is the child's portion, pretty large. And then up here, this is the child pancake breakfast. It is 2 fluffy buttermilk pancakes, crispy bacon, and a sausage link with a butter croissant. All of these items did actually come with a drink, so we ended up grabbing a hot coffee, a pumpkin juice, because I love pumpkin juice. And just a water cup. So I am gonna start first with the traditional English breakfast because I am the most not excited about all of the items, and also it's the most exciting thing we're having. So we're gonna start small, simple, butter croissant. The butter croissant is fine. Tastes like a butter croissant you grab from like Starbucks or something. A little flaky, a little buttery. It's simple. It's not overly special, but it's also not bad. Okay, next up is sauteed mushrooms. So these are fine. They're actually, I love mushrooms, so I think that they're really good. They're not really overly great. They're just mushrooms that they taste like the mushrooms you used to get out of a jar, and then you saute them. They're pretty nice. They're not like overly seasoned. They're, you know, nice and chewy, a little bit of bite. I like them. I like mushrooms, though. I literally could eat them like chips. I don't think you should go out of your way for these mushrooms. Okay, next up, scrambled eggs. These scrambled eggs are not half bad. I don't love scrambled eggs from like quick services and things, like the mass, just kind of plasticky scrambled egg. They taste more like scrambled eggs that you would make at home. They're not like great. They're not bad. They are better than most quick services, but they're also still very just plain. Okay, next up, my favorite part of this whole dish is the potatoes. I love these potatoes. They are so tasty and flavorful and crispy. They're sauteed with onions, and then they also have like rosemary and different herbs there. Very nice, very tasty. My favorite thing, hands down, for breakfast here. All right, next up, roasted tomato. So when it comes to tomatoes in the Wizarding World, both here in Hogsmeade and over in Diagon Alley too, they are sometimes really good and they are sometimes really bad. Right now it's actually pretty good. It is tomato season though. It's the summertime. They're fresh. They're juicy. They also have some nice seasoning on this one. It's not really roasted or anything like that. When it comes to tomatoes, though, be very cautious. I've had some of the best tomatoes ever here, and I've had some of the worst tomatoes ever here. This one is nice. It is just a tomato, though. Okay, next up, baked beans. I actually really like these baked beans. I know it's a little bit different, especially for breakfast if you're not from the UK or different places where they do like beans and toast and things for breakfast, but I like it. I prefer a savory breakfast, so I like that this is an option here. The beans are good. They're nice and soft when you bite into them, and it's comforting. I like them. Do I think everyone will enjoy this? Not necessarily, but I'm pleased to have them up with my breakfast. Next up, we're gonna try the English bacon, which is ham. I like it. I think it's really nice, very savory, pretty salty. It's not like a country ham overly salty, but it's a nice addition, especially if you are not somebody who wants, like you want everything else, but you don't want the blood sausage. I like that there's some different meat options in here so you don't have to eat the blood sausage. I'm going to eat it today and I'm avoiding it because I don't want to. Next in the meat department, sausage links. They honestly just kind of remind me of like the sausage you get at like a continental breakfast. It's just a normal sausage link. It's not something you haven't had probably 100 times. You have a lot of breakfast like this, but I really like it. It's nice, it's simple, it's comforting. 10 out of 10. The part I've kind of been dreading, and I know that might be rude to people who enjoy black pudding. I'm not trying to be. I've just had it before. It wasn't for me, but we need to try it again for posterity. So, black pudding. So if you don't know what black pudding is, it's a blood sausage. It's made with pork or beef blood, and then there's just a few other things in it kind of create what it becomes. I think the reason that I don't like it is mainly just texturally. It's just too mushy for me. I just don't really enjoy that, but it's very meaty and nutty flavor-wise. Again, if you want an adventure, this is an adventure in and of itself. And some people just want to wait a little later in the day for their adventures. Okay, next up, I'm gonna try one of the kids' pancakes. It's been nice and doctored up with syrup and butter. And then on the side is a croissant, which we've already tried, so we don't need to try again, as well as some bacon and some sausage. And I already tried some of the sausage, so we're just gonna try this and the bacon. Weirdly, I really liked these pancakes. They were just the kid size. I will say portion-wise, though, I don't know what the adult portion looks like. I could have easily enjoyed the kid size and felt full if we were eating the whole thing and I was just eating that. They're nice, they're light, they're fluffy, they're buttery and gooey. And then I'm gonna try the bacon as well. Good, it's fine. It's not super fatty bacon. It is just normal bacon. Mine was nice and crispy. I'll eat the whole thing, so you know, let that do for you what it will, but tasty. Next up, I'm moving on to the kids' porridge. So I'm gonna try the porridge two ways. I'm gonna try it first plain, let you know my thoughts on the plain porridge, and then they also gave us some brown sugar to doctor it up. So first, I will go ahead and let you know, I would choose to kind of doctor this up, but I'm really pleasantly surprised. I normally don't like porridge or anything. I just think it's too bland, and sometimes it's just a little bit too dry. This is really nice and almost creamy. Creamy is not necessarily the best word, but like gooey, really nice, and buttery. So buttery. I do think it needs a little bit of extra flavor, but on its own, it's really nice. So if you're looking for like a healthier option or just like less sugar because you've probably been at a theme park for several days and you just don't want to doctor it up, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by this. Here it is, a little bit doctored up with some brown sugar. Yeah, that's exactly how I would want it. This is actually, I really like this. I did not think I would like this at all. It's nice, it's heavy, it's comforting, and it just feels a little bit, while it is a heavier meal, like I know I would get full off of this, I don't feel heavy in the sense of like greasy or weighed down or just, you know, sometimes you kind of feel gross after you like have eaten a whole loaf of bread and syrup when you have pancakes. This is nice, and I know I also would get full. Scone, croissant, whatever this is officially called. I would call it a blueberry scone. This is also actually really nice. It's nice and sugary but flaky. I thought it looked a little bit dry. It ended up not being dry at all because of the dried blueberries in it. It just kind of added a little extra flavor. Really nice, light, fluffy. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the child's porridge. Okay, now I'm gonna do a fruit bite montage and we'll talk about it all together. Okay, fruit-wise, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was all really fresh. I was very surprised. The pineapple was super juicy, so was the honeydew and the cantaloupe. The oranges and the grapefruit were also really nice and juicy. Grapefruit was a little bit bitter, but that's normal for grapefruit. The watermelon was probably the least fresh, and it still was just nice, light watermelon. I'm very surprised that all of this was as fresh and juicy as it was, but it's also just fruit. It's seasonal right now, so I can't guarantee that it always would be this nice.
For one of our stops today, we are going to head into the Hog's Head. The Hog's Head is the bar over here in Hogsmeade. They don't necessarily have a ton of specialty items, but there is one thing you can grab over here in Hogsmeade that you can't grab on the other side, so we're going to grab it here. Okay, for my drinks from the Hog's Head, we grabbed the Hog's Head Brew. It's really just a red Scottish ale, but yeah, it's specific to over here, so we had to grab it. So I'm not a beer expert, I am not a beer aficionado, but this is actually pretty nice. It's fairly light, it's not too heavy, semi-hoppy. My beer reviews are not the best. So I'm gonna take this over to Quincy and give you a few more notes over there. I will say as a non-beer drinker, this is actually really nice and light and refreshing, and that is what I can tell you as someone who does not often drink beer.
All right, Three Broomsticks has a pretty extensive menu, pretty focused on meats, rotisserie chicken, spare ribs, turkey legs, things like that. As usual, we won't be getting anything that you can get lots of places, but we will be getting a lot of food here, including the Great Feast, which covers a lot of the different combinations of things that you can get, so I hope you're hungry. Luckily, we still are. All right, Emma said she failed at the beer review, so I'm trying the beer.
I don't like beer.
I do. This is the Hog's Head beer. It is my favorite Wizarding World exclusive beer. You can only get it in Hogsmeade at the Three Broomsticks or the Hog's Head. It's got a really full flavor, but it's not really heavy, so it's pretty easy to drink. Kind of like really slight notes of like caramel in there, but very, very light, so it's super easy to drink while still being packed full of flavor. Definitely my favorite. If you like a red ale or an amber ale, I think you're gonna want to go with this one. All right, we do have a lot of food, obviously, here, and we've eaten a lot today, but don't worry, we do have backup. Emma's husband has joined us. Say hello. There he is, he's here. He's gonna help us eat this. In fact, he said he'd eat it all. That's so nice, thank you. He's not actually gonna eat it all. Emma and I are gonna help. Here is our haul from Three Broomsticks. There's a lot going on here. The star of the show here is gonna be the Great Feast, which is a platter that serves 4. It's got roasted chicken on it, it's got ribs, roasted potatoes, corn on the cob, tons of veggies, and then it also comes with this huge salad too as your first course. So this is a really great way to feed a family, and it's not too expensive. It's about $72, so fewer than 20 bucks a person. And honestly, I think you could probably feed 5 or 6 with it if you had some lighter eaters. Otherwise, we've got the shepherd's pie, which comes with a side salad. There is the plant-based mushroom pie platter, which is a mushroom and jackfruit pie, so that is vegan. We'll see how that tastes. Here we've got the kids' fish and chips. They do have an adult size of this, and you can get the fish and chips over at Leaky Cauldron too. We just knew we were gonna get it over here, so we didn't grab it. Then in the back, we've got the leek and potato soup. They also have the ham and pea soup that we had over at Leaky Cauldron. And then for desserts, we've got the chocolate trifle and the freshly baked apple pie. And finally, the specialty drink that you can get over here and not over there is the pumpkin fizz, which Emma will be drinking because she loves pumpkin. We're starting with the star of the show, the great feast. A lot going on here. I'm actually gonna start with the first course, the salad, and then Emma's gonna eat the rest of the feast by herself. She just told me that. The whole thing, yeah, she's gonna do it. So salad. The salad is good. Comes with your dressing of choice. The dressing is already on there. The greens are crispy, but not the freshest, so I wouldn't call them like wilted or anything like that, but it's, you know, kind of like a salad that you get out of a bag. There's nice and crusty croutons. There's a good amount of croutons. Cucumber, tomato. I would probably ask for a little more dressing just because it isn't fully like all over it, but I think this is a great way to like, it's a great first course for your great feast.
Next up, I'm gonna try the chicken. It actually looks quite nice. I actually really like the chicken. It is huge. There's so much massive amount of chicken right now. It's a little bit more dry in the middle, but the skin is nice. It's really moist, and it has a lot of good flavoring through herbs and things. It's also slightly crispy, which I really like. Towards the middle, it is a little bit dry, but it's also a massive piece of chicken. And honestly, when it comes to theme park food, sometimes I can just appreciate simple, not deep fried chicken.
All right, the potatoes are the same as the potatoes they have at breakfast, which is great because I like love them. I like them with ketchup, which I feel like kind of hurts them, but not for me. They are so good because of the rosemary and the onions and the oil. Absolutely delicious. I'm also gonna try the veggies. The veggies are good. I think they're a little over seasoned. One bite that I had was just really salty, but there's a lot of pepper on them, which I do like. And it's not every single one, so I think it's just a little unevenly seasoned. Broccoli's a little overcooked. Carrots are perfectly cooked. And I think there's red bell pepper in here that's perfectly cooked too.
I like the broccoli, a little mushy.
If you like your broccoli a little mushy, then the broccoli's really good. And I don't think it's bad. It's just definitely a little overcooked. And then last but certainly not least, my favorite vegetable in the world, corn on the cob. Incredibly stuck in my teeth after just one bite.
Good stuff.
Just how you want corn on the cob to be.
Next up, I'm gonna try the ribs, and yes, I'm trying it a weird way, and it's because they're really messy, and we have a lot to eat, and I don't have time to worry about that, so ribs. I actually really like these ribs. They're nice and fatty, and then the barbecue sauce across the top is slightly sweet, but still nice and savory. I really like it. They're a little bit on the dry side, but as much as you have here, that's just sometimes gonna be the case. But overall, I like both a lot, and I think they're good options to have, especially if you're feeding a lot of people.
I'm trying the fish and chips, which I've called chicken like 4 times now.
It's a really cute chicken.
It's a really cute chicken. The fish, first off, the fish has amazing flavor. It's got that like perfect like white fish like taste without being overly fishy. On top of that, the outside is super crispy and well fried, and it's not overly breaded. A lot of times fish and chips, you'll have huge pockets of breading, which is not as good as like a perfectly balanced piece of fish. I love their tartar sauce. It's super tangy. And overall, just like a really great piece of fish. I would say it's on par with the kind of fish you get at Yorkshire County Fish Shop in Disney World and Epcot. Also, the chips with the fish and chips. Both sides of Harry Potter World do these really delightful, well-seasoned potato wedges that have like a ton of potato meat on the inside. Super fluffy and well-cooked. I just think they're good fries. And you want good chips when you're having fish and chips.
Okay, next up, I'm gonna start with the shepherd's pie. I actually really like the shepherd's pie here. It's the same filling that is on top of the loaded jacket potato that we tried over in Universal. The potatoes are nice and creamy, but there's like a little bit of a crispy crunch on top. It's nice, it's comforting, and it's really heavy. Maybe not what you really want on a really hot theme park day, but if you're looking for something that's kind of just nice and comforting, this is a really nice option.
A lot going on in this stew. This is the plant-based option here, so I'm wondering about it for sure. We'll see how it tastes. Okay, I have mixed feelings here. It's very good. The bread top gets a little, like it's a little crusty. It's more like a harder bread top. That's not a big deal. It kind of goes well with the stew, adds a nice textural element. The stew itself is very savory and mostly texturally and flavor-wise has a very like aromatic, herbaceous, mushroomy flavor profile, but there's jackfruit in there. And jackfruit is often used as a meat substitute. The one thing about jackfruit is it has a little bit of a fruity zing to it. And you can taste that fruity zing in this, which feels out of place. Not bad, but if you're unused to jackfruit as a meat substitute, I think that it will be off-putting for you. That said, I actually do enjoy this. I think it's a really great plant-based option. I think they really put a lot of effort into having something unique. here that you could have as a plant-based eater that still like kind of screams English food. It's just that zing's a little off-putting if you're not used to jackfruit. Trying out the leek and potato soup. Oh, it's good. It's super smooth and thick like a potato soup should be. There's no chunks in there, so it's kind of got the texture of applesauce, but in a soup way. And the main, Emma's laughing at me. The main flavor going on here is from the leeks, which is awesome, because this morning I wasn't getting any leek flavor from my leek and mushroom pasty. And in this, I'm getting a ton of leek flavor. It's super aromatic, kind of like the greener flavor of shallots. So it's just a really tasty soup. It's warm, it's comforting, and luckily this is an air-conditioned restaurant because I would not want to be eating soup in the summer in Orlando outside. Okay, I'm going for the fresh baked apple pie. I love apple pie. I'm very curious about this because is it really fresh baked? Is it really apple pie? This is so good. Interesting. It tastes fresh baked. The crumble on top is the perfect amount of sweetness and crunch. It's messy. When I like dug into it, I got crumbs all over the table and myself. But the apples are so warm and so soft and so cinnamony. There's the slightest drizzle of icing on top. The only thing I'm sad about is that we didn't buy vanilla ice cream, which you can get here because they have the Florian Fortescue ice cream cups here. So that's my recommendation, is get vanilla ice cream for this. Scoop it on top. Go to town.
Next up for me is the chocolate
It's more
trifle.
like a cobbler than a pie. Can you tell him?
What table are you at?
Can you tell him?
It's more like a cobbler than a pie. Just so you guys know, I know that you were really worried. It is more like a cobbler than a pie. Next up, the chocolate trifle. All right, this one is definitely for the chocolate lovers. It is really nice. It's a lot more rich than I would have anticipated because the chocolate is a darker chocolate. It's not overwhelming. It's really nice. And then the strawberries on the bottom are fairly fresh, actually. Nice and fruity. It reminds me a lot of a chocolate-covered strawberry.
Would you say it's more like a cobbler or a pie?
I'm not in on this joke. I'd say it's probably more like a pie. Okay, I have been cursed with another pumpkin drink after the choices I made. I made the choice. I love pumpkin juice, but maybe just not today for right now. But I'm gonna try the pumpkin fizz. Now, I don't know if it's because we've had it for a little while and the ice has melted a little bit. There's a lot of ice in here though, so I don't think that that's the case. I really am not tasting a major difference between this and the regular pumpkin juice. It is, of course, a little bit fizzy, but flavor profile-wise, it still has that same kind of cinnamon, nutmeg, pumpkin flavor with a slight bit of fizz. Maybe if you have it immediately, it's more fizzy, but it tastes pretty much the same, in my opinion.
All right, and that's 3 broomsticks. Here's the question. 3 broomsticks or leaky cauldron?
3 broomsticks.
Really?
Yeah. I prefer the chicken, the ribs, the potato, like spread.
Yeah.
And you can get a smaller version of that if you don't want the whole feast and you're by yourself, so I like that.
I think for me, I think it's leaky.
No.
I'm sorry.
Why?
Because I really like the pies at Leaky better than the pie here. And Leaky has more drink options, more specialty drink options. They're both good. I think you can do either and be happy. So
Agreed.
which
They're
is great.
very similar
They
overall.
are. Yeah, which is great because they're in 2 different parks. So if you're not going to both parks, you can still have the good wizarding food. So 3 Broomsticks is actually the only true food service location here in Hogsmeade. However, there are a couple of other spots where you can stop. Of course, Hogshead is going to be the bar that serves up a lot of great beers as well as some cocktails. Emma very notoriously in a video one time was telling me about her favorite tea drink they have there and how it was such a delicious cocktail. And what was it, Emma?
I couldn't tell you.
It was a Long Island iced tea.
With raspberry.
But of course, you can also grab butterbeer around. There's a butterbeer cart up by Hogwarts Castle, as well as one back here. They do have the frozen and the cold butterbeer. If you want to do hot butterbeer in Hogsmeade, you are going to have to get it from the 3 Broomsticks. I'll also note the line has gotten a lot shorter. We got here right after peak lunchtime. It's now around 3 p.m. and that line is a lot shorter. So eating off peak meal times can be a big way to skip out on those food time lines. And not technically a food service location, it's actually a retail location. We do have Honeydukes. Now this is the main sweet shop here in Hogsmeade.
Can I get the door for you?
Oh, please, thank you, madam. Aloha Mara. Wow. So in here you've got those prepackaged snacks, Birdie Bots every flavor beans, Felix Delicious, exploding bonbons, chocolate cauldrons, chocolate skulls, chocolate frogs. The chocolate frogs do also come with like collectible chocolate frog cards, which are really cool because they are like, they kind of change when you look at them, which is neat, and there's a bunch of different ones to collect. But Honeydukes is a must stop, even if you just come in to stroll around, just because it is a very famous spot in the books and movies. And they do have a bakery case in here that's going to have a lot of your basic sweets. This is the bigger bakery case in the Wizarding World. It's got no-melt ice cream, which is basically a cup of icing. There's lots of fudge, chocolate and caramel apples, candy apples, chocolate pretzel ones, ginger newt cookies, as well as things like pumpkin pasties, pumpkin cakes, and cauldron cakes. Now, because Honeydukes is a retail location, we aren't going to be grabbing this stuff or eating everything today, but this is great stuff to grab to take back to your hotel, to take back home, especially that prepackaged stuff can make great souvenirs, and I know before I lived here, I was always taking home Wizarding sweets. What's your favorite Wizarding sweet?
I love chocolate frogs. I know that that's really basic, but they're just nice and chocolatey.
I love Birdie Bots every flavor beans, mostly because I've had them enough that I know which ones are the gross ones to feed to my friends.
I don't like it.
I think it's fun to eat them in line and then be like, booger.
She does that to other people. She's not eating booger.
To be fair, I let you pick out all my beans last time we did that.
That's true. We had a good time doing that.
We did.
But I didn't like the flavor.
And Emma also kept picking out the good beans for me.
Now, one more option if you're looking for something grab and go is this cart right out here across from Ollivanders. You can traditionally find some fruits, some canned beer, some water bottles, and then they also will have hand pies, which are the same that we had over in Diagon Alley. They have the beef ham pasty and the chicken ham pasty right now, and then they also have the vegan ham pasty as well as the pretzel and the churros.
And that is all the food in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
I'm so full.
I'm never eating anything again.
I'm pretty much
like
done
good.
forever.
I'm like good forever. You know how bears stock up for the winter?
Yeah, you feel good there.
That's how I feel.
I think the only thing I do want is some pumpkin juice, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good, we obviously did this over 2 days. You can probably tell because our outfits changed. So the plan was to do this in one. Thank goodness we didn't.
Not
There's
possible.
so much to eat here, which is amazing. It's so cool that there's so many Wizarding foods to try. And honestly, I don't think anything was like outright bad. My favorites, the apple pie, the Hog's Head beer, and the combination pie combo with Leaky Cauldron.
Prior to breakfast, I would have said pumpkin juice always because I love pumpkin juice.
After breakfast?
Nothing related at all. I also really loved the Great Feast, and then anytime I can get some good fish and chips.
Potatoes.
Yeah, the potatoes really take it home.
If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe.
Now go check out our perfect day here in the Wizarding World at Harry Potter. We'll
See you there.